Hi, this is James Stafford with James Stafford Photography, and we're going to be talking HDR today. This is a Canon 6D, and what you're going to need to do HDR photography is real simple. You're going to need a DSLR camera that allows you to do multiple exposures, a tripod, Photomatix, and Photoshop. And over the course of the video, we're going to go over the entire process of how to create stunning, high dynamic range photography. All right, so here we are, and we're going to try to capture this dynamic scene. I've gone ahead here, and I'm going to take one just to capture the static shot without doing the high dynamic range, without only doing one exposure so that you can see it at home. It should be on the screen for you right now. And now what we're going to do is, and the 6D, this is great when you're in manual mode, you just use that cue. You highlight right here where it's showing your exposures, and you're going to go +2, -2. And what you're going to do is you're going to set your drive to 2-second interval. So when we press the trigger, it's going to give us 2 seconds to get away from our tripod so everything's nice and still and the camera can take the 3 exposures of the scene. So here we go. Camera's going to shoot now. And now we've captured our 3 exposures of this beautiful beach scene. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our 3 exposures, we're going to go back to the studio, and we're going to load Photomatix, which I'm going to show you how to do right now. And we're going to process in Photomatix, and we're going to do a couple tweaks in Photoshop, and you're going to get a stunning image using really simple steps here and capturing the technique of HDR photography. Here we are on the Photomatix website. As you can see, it says right there, Photomatix HDR photography. The URL for this is www.hdrsoft.com. And I want to mention real quickly, I am not, and I repeat, not sponsored by any of these companies. I'm talking about them because I use them almost every day in my photography business. So what you're going to do is simply come through where it says download, and then you're going to choose, it's a free trial. They're going to watermark the image that gets exported until you buy that license in either your Windows or your Mac, and it's that easy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to load up some photos. Okay, so this is the screen, that's the basic home screen for Photomatix Pro 4.2, and I'm running the 64-bit version on a Windows machine. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to click on here where it says Load Bracketed Photos. And obviously we're going to have to browse to where we have those folders on our computer. And in my case, and here they are. We're going to select those files, we're going to open them, and we're going to click OK. And when you get to this screen here, all you're going to do is click OK. I'm showing you a real simple and easy way to do it. I may do a longer tutorial in the future where I go in and give you kind of a detailed look into what all those things are. And on this screen here, allows you to adjust the brightness. You can zoom in and out to kind of see where your highlights and your dark spots are going to be. So click OK. We're going to move on to the next one, and this is where things are going to get interesting. You can see here the computer's doing a whole bunch of work. And here is our preview of our file. And I like moving things to default. The most important thing, and I always reset, you see down here, reset to default. Most important thing is going to be here, the white balance and the black point. Basically, the only stuff you really want to control in Photomatix is the white and the black. And what I like to do is I look for the highlights up here, and then I move this until the white is as white as I want it to be. But I don't want to lose too much detail. You can see right here, see, ooh, that's kind of blown out. I don't like that. And I get it right where around it. That looks pretty good. And we're going to do the same thing for the black. We're going to bring it up, and we're going to put that black right where we like it. And I'm looking here in the shadows. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tell it to process the image. Now I want to say this. There are a bunch of really cool presets. If you don't have Photoshop, you just want to do it in Photomatix, the presets work great. I can give you, when I do a longer tutorial, I'll go through and we'll talk about what all these different settings do. But for all intents and purposes, the only things I like to touch in Photomatix are the white and the black. So we're going to process. And here we go. And it's going to come out as a nice little TIFF image. There it is. Look at the difference already. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that. And I always like calling it the tone mapped. Just the way I like doing it. Get rid of all that extra stuff. We're going to save it, and now we're going to open it up in Photoshop. Okay, here we are in Photoshop. This is our image that we imported from Photomatix, and it is a TIFF file. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a Control J on the PC. It's going to create a nice duplicate layer for us, and I like to turn off the little eyeball so that I don't mess with that original format image. So the day I was up at the beach, like anything else, you can't control everything. There were a ton of dragonflies. You can see them. Here they are all over the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go get the spot healing tool, and I'm going to go and I'm going to go and I'm going to fire and press and try to get rid of all of them. And for the sake of your time and mine, I'm going to go ahead and, through the magic of editing, edit out what took me about 4 or 5 minutes to do, which was to go ahead and get rid of all of those little dragonflies. And it's kind of cool with the magic of editing. You can do that. All right, so the next step, and something I like to do, is I like to go ahead and I created a new layer, and I want to go in and I want to look at I'm going to use the burn tool, and I'm going to go through and I am going to find all of those shadows, and I am going to use a really large, as you can see, soft brush. My exposure for the burn tool is at about 5%, and I'm going to go through and I'm just going to find all those dark areas like the horizon line along the pier, in the clouds. And you can see again I'm doing about 5%. And to the shadows. That's really important. You have it set to the shadows. And I'm going through, because the key to HDR is the contrast. It's that difference between light and dark. And you want there to be a white and you want there to be a black in the image, because it kind of sets the image out. So next we're going to go and find the highlights. And as you can see, I did that, and we're going to set a nice big soft brush again, and we're going to go through and we're just going to look for them. There's some up here, and again set to about 5%, and they're up in the clouds. That's mainly where a lot of the highlights are. There's some in the water that we can go ahead and get. Okay, next I'm going to go to the adjustments, and I'm going to increase the contrast, and you're going to see that has a big effect on the image. And I'm going to raise that to about 20. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, well, I think the image is still a little on the bright side. So I'm going to go ahead again to the adjustments. You can see here, I'm going to add a little more contrast first. And then I'm going to I'm going to darken the image, because again, I just think it's too bright. And I'm going to bring that down a little bit. All right, that looks about right. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create another level, another layer over here on the right, Control J on the PC. And I'm again going to go ahead and create that new level. There it is. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust the levels. And you can see here I have a big gap. You see this big gap? We don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and grab it. We're going to lower that down to right around here. You can see how much nicer the image just got. We're going to go ahead and look at the midtones, and we're going to increase those just a little bit. See, now we're getting the image really starting to pop. We're going to head to the bottom. We'll just bring it up just a smidge. And look, I mean, you can tell this is really, really just making the image pop. We're going to click OK on that. And we're going to go ahead and create one last new layer. And look, and you hear the before and the after. Before, after. And you can see there's a huge, huge difference from that single exposure and the HDR image. And of course, the HDR image is far closer to what our eye actually sees, what we actually experience, because our eye can see a far larger light range than our camera sensors can. So again, you can see here is our finished product of our photo. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to flip it back here to the before. And, you know, I'm going to be producing probably about a video a week. So I hope you buy my subscription. And you're going to see that I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you, like, there's some more details that we could add to increase, to improve this image a little more. But the goal of this video is just to show you how to do HDR in 5 minutes. Total processing time on this whole thing, including producing the video, wasn't all that long. And you really, once you get some practice at shooting your bracketed images, running it through Photomatix and putting it into Photoshop, you can create stunning images like this in less than 5 minutes of time. in the studio using the software. I really hope you enjoyed it. My name again is James Stafford with James Stafford Photography, and thanks for watching. And look, that's the original single exposure, and that's our finished product. Again, thanks for watching.